Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Burrow, a Harry Potter podcast by a 24-year-old with 3 cats. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I just rewatched the movie last night. I was going to do this whole live reacting to me watching the movie, but the audio didn't turn out very well, so I'm just going to record a whole new podcast. And we're just not going to do that because it did take me 4 hours. I'm not kidding, 4 hours to make it through the movie because I was pausing and talking about it as I was going. My plan for next week is definitely to do that with Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, but we're not going to get that far. So we're going to discuss my thoughts and my opinions about the movie as I kind of go section by section. So if you guys watched my very first episode, you'll know that Harry Potter and the Chamber, every time I talk about this, I do that. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is probably my favorite Harry Potter movie, but it's purely because I love the way that the kids react to getting to go to Hogwarts and not really the story behind it. If you were asking me based off the movie and the story, how long the movie is, I absolutely hate the movie. It takes so long to get through, which we're going to talk about. But first, I just want to talk about some of the good things about the movie. And that is that, first off, I really do feel like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is one of the few movies that they can pretty much follow the book point by point. Obviously, everything's not in the movie, and there's a lot of things that I didn't realize were left out of the movie until I watched it again last night that were left out. But overall, I think that you get the same gist of the book as you do the movie, even if I don't love that whole thing. So it's just kind of how, that's the good thing about it, I guess. Excuse me. So one of the things about the movie that I'm not a big fan of, and I'm not really going in order of the movie, but one of the big things about Sorcerer's Stone. One of the big things about Sorcerer's Stone that I really don't like is that they change the section in the movie where they're talking about Norbert, and they change it completely. Now, when I had originally watched the movie, I hadn't read the book in a very, very, very long time, and it was years ago. So I never really realized that that section was changed. And there's not a good reason to have changed it, in my opinion. So in the book, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably know something about Harry Potter, but in the book, Harry, Ron, and Hermione obviously go to Hagrid's. They find out that he has a dragon egg, and then he keeps Norbert for an extended period of time, and then he bites Ron. Then Ron, Hermione, and Harry come up with a plan to save Norbert, and they contact Charlie and get Charlie to take Norbert to Romania. And there's a whole thing there, and I do feel like in the book it's a very long storyline that is not needed. But because Draco finds out about, or they think Draco knows. No, Draco finds out about the plan for them to send Norbert away, and then Neville ends up trying to stop them, and that's how they end up with the extra 5 points to beat Slytherin at the end of the year. Spoiler alerts. I feel like these movies are long enough, or these movies and books have been out long enough though that I don't really need that, but alas, there is some. And I don't know. I know that that's the point of it. That section gets you to the end. But they changed it in the movie, and in the movie, it is that they go and see Hagrid. Draco sees Norbert hatch. Dumbledore sends Norbert away pretty much immediately. They get detention because they were out of bed visiting Hagrid when they found out about Norbert, not because they were trying to get rid of Norbert. And then Neville's never in the scene at all. And then somehow, at the end of the movie, he still gets them points. But there was nothing in the movie that led to that point. And that's probably just me nitpicking, but it's definitely one of the few things that like stood out to me last night that made me pretty annoyed with the whole idea of the movie. The other thing that I do not like about Sorcerer's Stone, this is going to be a thing. If I accidentally call it Chamber of Secrets, like, we all know what I'm talking about. But this is the thing about Sorcerer's Stone. Even in the book, I feel like it takes way too long to get to the point. And it's painfully obvious during the movie. Like, again, one of my favorite movies, but not because of the plot of the movie, just because of how excited all of the first years are to be at Hogwarts. Like, that is why it is my favorite movie. The plot of the movie just takes so long. It's called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And you don't learn anything about the Sorcerer's Stone. It doesn't get to the point until the last hour of the movie. And the movie is a 2.5 hour long movie. Like, it is a very long movie to not get to the point quickly. And I feel like in the book, it was okay to have all of that lead up. I actually enjoyed all of that lead up. And it's not that I don't enjoy knowing about the sorting and the first Quidditch match and them looking in the library and Christmas and all of that. Like, it's not that I don't enjoy that part, but in the book, you get an equal amount of the lead up to it, and then you get a very large amount of the lead up to finding the Sorcerer's Stone. So you get the wizard's chest, you get the flying keys, you get the potion, then you get him finding the Sorcerer's Stone, then you get the whole hullabaloo about him trying to keep Voldemort / Professor Quirrell from getting the Sorcerer's Stone, and then you move on, then they win, and then that is the end of the book. That's a very short synopsis of it, but that is how it goes, and you have an equal amount of lead up to the actual point and plot of the book. In the movie, you get an hour and a half of lead up. You get like 30 minutes of them finding out the information, and then you get 30 minutes of them, not even a full 30 minutes, of them making it to find the Sorcerer's Stone and then winning the House Cup. Like, there's not, and then you get like the end, going home, blah, blah, blah. So the whole point that the movie is named over does not happen until literally the last like 30-ish, 45, last hour, if I'm being generous, the last hour of the movie. And I am sorely disappointed in that, because I feel like if someone who had never read Harry Potter and who currently was like a grown adult who had never read Harry Potter and has never seen the Harry Potter movies went to watch this, they would be bored before they ever got to the point that's actually entertaining about this particular plot line. And that's sad, because again, this is probably, it was, leading up to my rewatch of it, was definitely my favorite movie. Now, going back through them, we'll see if it still is. You guys will get to learn. But I don't know. It makes no sense to me, I guess, why it took so long. I feel like they could have just, like, if you were gonna leave out the part that Neville actually even, like, participated in anyway, I feel like they should have just cut Norbert out. Never would have needed to, like, be there. As much as I love the Quidditch scene, I wish there was more flying and more Quidditch in the movies. As much as I like that, they cut that out. They shortened all of that. Then they could have included all of the really cool things about finding the Sorcerer's Stone that actually involve them doing something with magic. And the other thing that I've gotten, this is like an annoyance about all of the movies and books, but like I'm going to throw it in here and you will hear me repeat it from here on out. The movie makes you think that all the movies make you think that in the 7 years that they are at Hogwarts. They literally learn like 3 spells, maybe 4. And when I was reading, like listening to the books, and I heard all of the spells that they were using, I was like, I know we're probably trying to keep things simple for the movies, but please, they know magic. They don't only know Expelliarmus. They don't only know Alohomora, which I don't even know that they use in the movies. They don't just know Lumos, and they don't just know Avada Kedavra. Like, they don't, I'm confused. So, that is my kind of, honestly, that's my reaction to the movie. Do I currently still, like, here is basically where this is led up to. I am having an identity crisis because I do still very much enjoy the movie. I just really wish that there was more to the movie than what there is. And I know that I can't complain. I mean, I can complain. Clearly I am. But, like, I know that the choices were made for a reason, and these choices were made very long ago. But I would love, and this is, like, probably going to get some people to really not like me, but I would love for a remake of the Harry Potter movies, because we all love Harry Potter, but I would love for a remake of the Harry Potter movies where they cut out that whole long lead up to the meat of what the movie is titled after, and showed Wizard's chest and the flying keys and all of that, because I think that would be great. And I know a lot of people probably don't want them remade, and I'm not a big fan of remakes of movies in general, but I definitely think that the Harry Potter movies, like, they weren't done bad, but the number of different directors that there were just definitely, it changes the vibe of the movie, which I will touch on as I'm watching more of them, but, like, it changes the vibe of the movie from movie to movie. I'm also not a big fan of knowing that characters change the way they look from this first movie to the second movie. And at least they did it in the beginning, I guess, but I am not a fan of, like, changing your characters. I understand if you have to replace an actor because they pass away. Obviously the look of the character is going to change a little bit, but, like, the one in particular that irritates me is Professor Flitwick. So in the first movie, he's very old, he's got this big beard, he's wearing a wizard's hat, like, he's very much your stereotypical wizard. And then in all of the movies going forward, he doesn't look like that. And I personally, I don't know, please let me know how you feel about it, but I personally would much rather, like, I prefer the first Flitwick, the Flitwick in this first movie, to the Flitwick in other movies. My personal opinion. Also, in terms of characters, not that I dislike the goblins, I really like them, but their fingers are creepy. I never really realized how creepy their fingers really were until rewatching this, like, critically last night. And props to the people that did those prosthetics, because they're bomb. They serve their purpose. Also, their teeth are a little creepy. Not a fan of that. I never really imagined goblins having razor sharp teeth, but, you know, those are little things. So I think that is going to be all for this week's episode of The Burrow. It's going to be another short episode this week since I'm not actually watching the movie and reacting in real time. Next week's episode will probably be a bit longer because I'm definitely, like, I'm going to end this and then I'm planning on immediately recording next week's episode. That way I can edit it throughout the weekend and get it up for you guys by, I think I'm going to do Tuesdays. Tuesdays seem like a good day. Plus I'm usually off on Tuesdays, but it will probably be a much longer episode because of the fact that I'm going to react to it while I'm watching the movie. And, like, by much longer, I mean, I think when I recorded this originally, the me reacting to it ended up being about an hour and a half long. So please let me know if you like long episodes, because I am very curious. So with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of The Burrow, a Harry Potter podcast by a 24-year-old with 3 cats.